I'd like to start off with a quote by Tess Humphrey. 4-H taught me that being a leader starts with confidence. Without mentors and 4-H youth leaders, I wouldn't be where I am today. This goes true to me. Without 4-H, I wouldn't be who I am today. 4-H taught me how to become a leader and a better friend. Growing up in 4-H, I learned how to become a leader by getting myself involved in 4-H activities and becoming a leader myself. I was president of the Wranglers Club for the past 2 years, and I've been the president of the Horse Committee Club for 3 years, and then the vice president for 2 years. In those roles, I was tasked of leading the meetings and coming up with agendas of what to talk about. I'm going to start from the beginning, from the first day that I joined 4-H to one of my most proudest moments in 4-H. My first meeting was the first time I got involved in 4-H. Driving to the meeting, I was nervous because I knew that I wasn't going to know anybody and I wouldn't have any friends to sit by. Starting something new is always kind of nerve-wracking because you don't know if you're going to be good at it and you don't know if you're going to know anybody. Getting to the meeting, I quickly found out that we had to introduce ourselves, saying your name, your age, your horse's name, and then something you like to do with your horse. That always changed at every meeting with the last thing, whether it be your favorite candy or your favorite winter activity, it always changed. After the meeting was over, we always stayed around and asked questions with what new was going on, if it wasn't discussed, talked about fair, and just hung out with friends and everything. I was looking through one of the old photo books, and one of the older 4-H kids came up to me and asked me if I owned my own horse. That question really upset me for the rest of the night, because I had gotten up and stood up in front of everybody and said my horse's name, and it just felt to me that no one really listened to what I said. And I quickly found out after a couple meetings that not everybody in 4-H has their own horses. Some people use other people's horses. That first meeting jump-started my whole 4-H career and got me involved for it for the last 8 years. Flash forward 4 years later into the summer of 2018, into the county fair of 2018. Fair started off like any normal fair. We moved in, got everything set up in our horse's stall, got all of our stuff ready, camper, everything. When I talk about fair to other people and I describe what goes on during the fair, I always mention golf cart rides. Golf cart rides are always my favorite part of fair because we always jam way more than we should have on the golf carts, and it's always a blast. One year we went mudding behind the golf cart because it had rained that day, and it was a blast. In previous years during fair, I always had the mindset going in that I was going to get a state trip or that I wanted to get a state trip and I was going to work hard for it. And granted, I did work hard for it every year. But that year, I changed my perspective going into fair. And that perspective was that I was just going to have fun. That year, I did have a lot of fun. It was one of my favorite fairs and one to look back on. Throughout the show, I get very nervous. And it's not because that I'm going to do bad or feel like I'm going to do bad, but I just want to do really well. And I work really hard with working with my horse a lot and getting things done. So at Wednesday night, when we announce the state trip winners every year, I heard my name being called for the first time in the 4 years that I've been in 4-H. And after I heard my name called, I remember going over to my horse's stall and hugging her, thanking her, and just crying happiness because we had finally done what we wanted to do. And I was just super happy and proud of her because she did really well. Then we went to the state fair that year and showed, and I still had that perspective that we're just going to have fun and we're going to do our best that we can do. Without 4-H, I wouldn't know who I am today. It taught me how to work for something if you really wanted to, and sometimes changing your perspective will always work out in the end. Winning isn't always everything. Thank you.